This is Gene Sherrard with Seattle Now and Then 360. To mark this week's return to the 1909 Alaska-Yukon-Pacific Exposition held on the University of Washington campus, we must give credit where credit is due, to French ingenuity. From coq au vin to kitesurfing, movie cameras to motorcycles, France has perennially delighted the world with marriages of innovation. The Montgolfier brothers, Joseph Michel and Jacques Etienne, had launched the first piloted aeronautical ascent in 1783. To this day, hot air balloons in France are called Montgolfiers. Meanwhile, Louis Daguerre, creator of the daguerreotype photographic process, had captured the earliest cityscape portraits in 1838. In 1858, an inspired Paris photographer, Gaspard Félix Tournachon, known by the sobriquet Nadar, wedded the two technologies. Leveraging unwieldy equipment into a hot air balloon basket, he single-handedly invented aerial photography. 51 years later, this came in handy at Seattle's first World's Fair. Our AYPE aerial, although not high-tech for its time, offered breathtaking spectacle, showing off the exposition's Beaux-Arts structures, merci again, France, that partially encircle Geyser Basin. Looking northwest, this view features the imposing domed U.S. government building, while the ornate curved structures on both sides of the basin focused on mining and agriculture. The UW's Drumheller Fountain, aka Frosh Pond, where first-year students once were dunked in ritual initiation, later was constructed on the watery footprint of the 1909 basin. But few other AYP artifacts endured. Meant to be as ephemeral as a stage set or a wedding cake, the AYP's gleaming White City soon gave way to the more permanent and austere structures of collegiate Gothic architecture. A wider version of this panorama appeared September 19, 1909, in the Seattle Times, filling the front page below a banner headline, "Remarkable View of Exposition Taken from Captive Balloon." A subhead explained, "After many futile attempts, camera artists succeed in getting fine bird's-eye view of exposition grounds." At first, the weather had refused to cooperate, ruining hundreds of negatives. But finally, the Times reported, the haze, which has been hanging over the grounds for the last month, lifted, and atmospheric conditions for aeronautical photographs were ideal. The balloon's cramped basket accommodated no more than 2 photographers outfitted with bulky cameras, sans tripod, and must have supplied equal parts claustro and acrophobia. Augmenting that anxious mix, the great gas bag, the Times said, pulled heavily on the retaining wire and shifted about in the wind. A single exposure turned out particularly fine. Snapped just 30 minutes before rains resumed, the photo was as distinct as if it had been taken from the ground. Despite the difficulties, proclaimed one photographer, we are more than satisfied with the result. In our first then, from his lofty perch in the AYP's captive balloon, at least as high as the Space Needle's 605 feet, photographer Vern Grinold captured the central hub of the fair. Geyser Basin dominates at lower center. The UW's Parrington Hall, built in 1902, can be seen at top, partly cropped above the U.S. government building's imposing dome. In our second then photo, the captive balloon was tethered southeast of the main AYP grounds. Then photo number 3 shows the balloon's basket providing tight quarters. It certainly was not for the faint of heart. And today, squared off by dignified structures of academia, Drumheller Fountain is a central feature of Rainier Vista, a long walkway of wide lawns and cherry trees. At top, just left of center, Parrington Hall still can be seen through greenery.